Welcome to the episode 4, and in this section, we will talk about a real uh, important part of an organization. So, I will start definitely with my favorite quote: anything new. So, the point is, when we think of getting something new, the whole problem is you can't reach for anything new if your hands are still full with yesterday's junk. It is such a valued information given by Louis Smith that I really, remember it and try to evolve out every day differently. And it is so clear on that you can't reach for anything new if your hands are still full of the yesterday's junk. So that is what. So to learn anything new, the best process is to unlearn and then learn. That is the best thing which we can do. Coming back to the main person, Mr. Brad Sugars is on the right of us, world's owner of the world's #1 business coaching firm, having 1,000 offices across 85 countries. The entire organization of Action Coach is privately and single-handedly owned by Mr. Brad Sugars from 1993. Originally, it was started in Australia. Am I audible to everybody?
सब लोग म्यूट करेंगे ना तो बैकग्राउंड नॉइज नहीं आएंगी.
Yeah. So whenever you want to speak, okay, just put up your hand and then we can talk. Perfectly okay. Thank you, Mr. Sapnil ji. So going back to Mr. Brad Sugars, who is the single-handed owner of the organization called Action Coach, and we are about 1,100 coaches across the world, coaching over 15,000 businesses in the countries like US, UK, Ireland, New Zealand, Vietnam, Malaysia, India, South Africa, Canada, everywhere. So, and last month we also had a coach in Dubai. So with that, we added around 1,100 some odd figures of number of coaches. And when I was coaching one of my client in Qatar, and that particular coach, from there we got the relation of another coach in Dubai, and so Dubai has opened up for Action Coach. Now, Action Coach wins the 3 Steve Award in the year 2020, and this award is given for the International Business Awards. Mr. Brad Sugar is also a speaker in the Japanese chapter of BNI. So that is what Brad Sugar is. It is all about me. We are all known to each other. I have tried to found and this organization called AdConnect Redefining Businesses on the thought process of the Action Coach business coaching. We as a team here, we work on the why, what, when, who, and how. And our vision is the same as Action Coach vision, saying that world abundance through business re-education. These are the teams: Mr. Arun Bhattacharya, Mr. Ashok Tiwari, Mr. Rahul Madiwala, and Mr. Manoj Mohite. This is the team through which we are trying to reach everybody wherever it is possible and who really looking for us as an individual. So coming back to the 6 steps to massive results, today we will talk about team. We have been talking about the mastery. We have been talking about the niche. We have spoken about leverage in the last week. And this week, we are talking about how to develop a team, which is the main structure of growth. So, which will bring us the massive result. So day 4, the team, this is all what we are doing right now. Now, business. It's a mirror image. What is a business? If you are in a business, you are actually into sales. This is a very important thing to understand. Business cannot happen with sales, and sales cannot be with the business. So they are the mirror image. They are the both sides of the coin, sales and businesses and business. So what is happening in a lot of organizations in my career I have gone through, where they think that sales is a part of business. But here I got something to understand and something to share with all of you. Sales is not a function of an enterprise. Sales itself is an enterprise. I repeat the word. Sales is not only a function of a bigger enterprise. Sales is itself an enterprise. That is where sales is. And to take this forward, we have to think of a smart way of doing it. Now, what is the smart way of doing it? The smart way of doing a business is nothing but to be specific, exactly know what we want in that business, exactly know what we should achieve. The goals are set, the outcomes are set, because a goal without a time frame is never a goal, is never an outcome. It only remains a wish list. It should be measurable. It should not be only a wish list, because a wish list always remains a wish list, but it has to be in the reality. So it should be specific, it should be measurable, it should be attainable. Why I mean this word attainable is that let's not fly too high. Let the people get the feeling of it and let them fly together. That is the whole thing. In a lot of cases, we see the entrepreneur, the businessman, the owner thinks that we will reach this level, but he tries to travel the journey alone to that level. Why? Because he has not cascaded down his ideas, his feelings, his mission, his vision down to the team. So that's why I have created this word as SMART, where it says it should be specific, discussed, found out, get the reality, measurable, whether we can do it or not, when we can do it, what should be the time given to do that, how much is attainable. Let's not get a heartbreak at the end of the financial year or at the end of the 5 year that, oh God, we have thought this, but we have not attained this. A little bit of retrospection, whether it was really attainable or not, whether we thought it, whether it was actually worked upon to find out what was the goal of that particular vision. Finally, was it relevant? It should be relevant actually also at the same time. And then to make the goal a success, it should be time-based. A goal without a time frame is always a wish list. A goal with a time frame is an outcome which gives results. So with that, this is what a smart business is all about. Okay, let's go to the 7 mandates of an effective sales strategy. First of all, to redefine the sales goal in the new way, because what we have done in the BC period, I mean the BC period is the before Corona period. The same process, the same way, the same thought will never allow us to reach our heights the after Corona period, or maybe now. And it was rightly said by Mr. Goldsmith, whatever has taken you here will not take you there. Very important. So I reinstate that particular statement to redefine the sales goal in the new way. And that new way has to be built up through a good, robust system with lot of thought processes, analogies, analysis inbuilt into the system so that everybody can rebuild that good, robust system. I believe that a good system cannot be developed only by the owner. It is a collective job. It's a total responsibility which each and everyone carry on their shoulders to carry to carry the responsibility of the organization, the growth and everything together towards a success. The third important point is to bring the consistency. Consistency is always better than brilliance. You know, the graph doesn't go like this. As an entrepreneur, it becomes very difficult when the graph grows like this. Because when the graph grows like this, then the profitability, the cash flow also goes like this, which may not support the ecosystem of the organization. So when we talk about that smart goal system, the smart business system, the attainable system, the attainable part of it, there brings the consistency. Brilliance is not that effective as consistency. So we have to look for people who want the consistency. To bring the consistency within the system, the only answer is a KPI. KPI क्या है? KPI है Key Performance Index. कोई भी कंपनी में इसको KRA भी बोलता है, the Key Responsibility Areas. So KPI, KRA are all the same, is basically defining somebody's position in the organization, what they are supposed to do, when they are supposed to do, and how they are supposed to do will come from that KPI. So to define the position of that particular person in the organization, a KPI is a must. I know an organization where the owner in himself has got a KPI because his KPI is actually judged by the promoters of the organization, by the finances of the organization. For example, if I am looking for a finance and I get a finance from a venture capitalist or maybe from an angel financer, they will also ask what is my personal deliverables in the organizations apart from my team's deliverable. So that is how KPI is very much required, is very much essential in any organization. Now, KPI is that what we have set at the beginning of the year while employing a person, along with the appointment letter, along with the do's and don'ts, the KPI sheet also needs to be presented. So when we prepare in an organization, it's my advice, it's my suggestion to everybody, to all the entrepreneurs, business people there, that when you actually share your JD with your HR or with the consultants, at the same time also make an effort to prepare the KPI for that position, not for that person. In 90% cases, a KPI is made in an organization looking at that person. Oh, this person is coming from, with a 30 years or 20 years experience, so I should derive this amount of business from him. No, that is not how it is done. If we are building up a team, then the KPI is being built up depending upon the position or the role of that particular person working in that organization. And to run this KPI effectively, there should be a test and measure on a regular interval. In some businesses, it can be monthly. In some businesses, it can be quarterly. In some businesses, it can be yearly, but it is preferable to do quarterly, half-yearly, and then yearly, so that if there is any problem in between, it can be taken care of, it can be corrected. So preferably KPI test and measure should be done monthly, quarterly, half-yearly, and then finally at the end of the year, which will decide on the incentivizing part of the organization, which will decide on the increment part of the organization, which will decide on carrying the luggage or releasing the baggage, what is essential. So to run all the systems in place, a strong sales team is required, which is actually the structure of the growth, which brings in growth. The person who are the ambassadors of your organization, going out to the market to talk about your organizations, they are the strong sales team, followed by efficient leader with a complete focus on his deliverables and of course passion, because without passion nothing is going to happen. So this is the 7 mandates of an effective sales strategy, how to bring consistency within the organization with a strong team, lead the team so that the goal is set on a proper mandate. Let's talk about the team. For me, there are 2 sales teams. One is who are working outside the office and the one who is working inside the office. The sales force and the marketing force, a very important thing, a sales force and the marketing force. So many times we think that, you know, the sales force are good enough to run an organization, but today pandemic has taught us that marketing force is as important as a sales force only, but both are complementing each other, both are not competing each other. It's basically complementing each other. And to run a successful team, we will go more details into the sales force, into this marketing force in my coming, slides. But do not forget to appreciate, celebrate small to the smallest achievements in an organization. That really brings in a lot of optimism in the organization. Sometimes we miss it, We try to celebrate a birthday, we try to celebrate a marriage anniversary in organizations, we try to celebrate the founding day of the organizations, but we don't celebrate when a salesperson comes back with a collection of an overdue check, do we? Can anybody say in the organization that they celebrate when the salesperson comes back to the organization collecting an overdue check? I doubt 100% nobody does that, because we think that is part of the duty.
I think I have a point here.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
As a principal, I think, unfortunately or fortunately, maybe I have been associated with at least 3 organizations where we have done this. Consistently focus on collection, without which the sales is never complete.
Correct.
And sales, obviously, sales, any specific achievement on the sales has always been acknowledged, celebrated amongst the team members, and published also.
That's one of the best thing to happen in an organization, to keep the team together, because otherwise the organization will only keep on making and breaking. And when there is a system of making and breaking in the organization, consistency will never appear in the hemisphere. It will be not there at all. So thank you, Arun sir. Continuing from this, coming to the most important part, how to understand a salesperson, what are the qualities of them. Now, before, this is basically on the feet on the street, and we need to know them. I think a lot of us have heard, that's not my job. Correct? Have you heard about it? Somebody tells, no, that's not my job. I tell you a small story about it. Whose job is this? That's not my job is a very, very common languages which is normally spoken, though not openly, but still at the backyard. So here I will talk about a little bit of a small story of the 4 friends or 4 employees of an organization. The 4 friends of the organization are everybody. If you want, you can all write it down. They are the 4 friends which you will always find them in your organization also. The 4 friends are everybody, somebody, anybody, and nobody. So this is basically the story of the 4 salesperson in an organization. And there is a very important job which has to be done. And this job has been distributed in between everybody, somebody, anybody, and nobody. Now what happens when a job has been given by you as an entrepreneur? So everybody is sure that somebody will do it, because anybody would do it. That is what the expectations. But ultimately, nobody does it. That's the fact. So everybody thought that somebody will do it. And the interesting part is that anybody could have done that. And that is what we are thinking. But actually what happened, nobody has done that. Now, the reactions, what happened? Then somebody gets angry about it, because it was everybody's job to do it. But nobody has done it. It was everybody's job to do it. But everybody thought that somebody will do it. But the fact is, nobody realized that everybody wouldn't do it. So this, everybody, somebody, anybody, nobody are there around you. We have to find them. Who are they? What they're trying to do. Tell this story to them. And you know what it has ended up at what? It ended up that everybody started blaming somebody in the organization. I started blaming you, he started blaming him, you started blaming this guy. So everybody started blaming each other, that somebody, when nobody did what anybody could have done it. Is it interesting? Do you find these people out in your organization or around you?
Yes.
Yes.
These four people,
full of this type of people across.
This entire surroundings of us is filled up with everybody, somebody, nobody, and anybody. So that is where, this thing came up into the picture. That why is this so? Then Action Coach actually found out the point of power. There are some people who are above the point of power. There are some people who are below the point of power. The powerful and the powerless. So what happens? When we are talking about the people who are powerful, what they do? They take the ownership of the job. They take the ownership of the system, and then they actually do it, delegate it, execute it, and then extract result out of it. That is ownership, that it is my job. It is everybody's job. It is my job. When I think it is my job, when you think it is your job, he thinks it is his job, she thinks it is her job, then actually there's everybody, somebody, anybody, nobody comes into the picture. There is nothing called everybody, anybody, somebody, and nobody. Everybody is important. Now these people take the ownership. While they take the ownership, there are possibility of gaining and losing, which obviously happens. You can't always win, and you will not always fail. Now they take the accountability of that. Yes, I made a mistake. I am responsible for this, so I will rectify it. When you actually find these people with you, you are above the power of point. You are above the point of power. Now, the people who are in the bed, the people who are actually in the bed, resting, blaming people, finding out excuses for not getting done. अरे सर वो तो आया नहीं, मैं कर नहीं पाया, मेरा फोन नहीं चल रहा है, कर नहीं पाया, मेरा नेटवर्क नहीं चल रहा है, सर आज का जूम मीटिंग बंद कर दो, सबको मना कर दो. Correct? I call up my co-host and tell him, sorry boss, I can't do it. I'm literally, disturbed about not getting the network through. I don't know what has happened to it. So let's stop the thing. But what somebody has done in this group, that they initiated an internal discussions to keep the things on. Because one of the player of the group is wounded right now. So all of you have taken up the responsibility to run the group for the time when that wounded person is not able to come back to the field. And thank you for giving me the time to come back to the field and play with you again. Thank you so much. So that is what a powerful team talks about. And the other way, that guy, if didn't come back, he started blaming. नहीं मेरा network नहीं चल रहा है, मेरा ये नहीं हो रहा है, मेरा वो काम नहीं कर रहा है. That becomes a blame. So we have to look for people who are not into blaming game, excuses, and denials. Denials is what? That's not my job. Denial is that's not my job. Because जो लोग नीचे है, point of power से नीचे है, they don't participate. That is the whole problem. They don't participate. And if they don't participate, the organization cannot run. They forget that by not participating, they are actually losing. So as an organization, we have to help them. उनको बोलना पड़ेगा कि आप अगर participate नहीं कर रहे हो, तो you are actually missing the game. Don't get afraid of losing. There is nothing called loss. If you are not winning, you may be learning. So that is the basic difference. So take out these people from the bed to the OER group. Then only the organization starts moving out more on the greener side. Okay? Because कोई ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में क्या होता है कि अगर एक मेंबर ट्राई कर रहा है काम करने के लिए और उनसे नहीं हो रहा है, तो they want to pull him down. नहीं, तुमसे नहीं होगा. I have given you 3 months time. I have given you 4 months time. But that's not leadership. Why you have given him 4 months time, that is more important. To ask the leader also. That when you see that he is not able to perform from the 15th day or the 16th day, did you ever go back to him and ask him where he is finding the problem? When you are seeing him after 4 years without test and measure, then you suddenly find him that he is in that bed of blames, excuses, and denial. So to run an organization, we have to find out, we have to run the KPI from time to time, regularly test and measure to find out who are the non-performers and who are the performers. Talk to the non-performers, and then you can always put them under a redressal system. You know what is a redressal system? Where they tell that I give you 3 months, we will work with you individually for these 3 months to bring you up from that level. But there are chances also to become a baggage. So when it is required actually to remove a baggage, we have to remove a baggage. But till the time, it's my suggestion that, don't judge it fast. Give that time. Because people, my seniors gave me time, so I reached up a particular level. May not be the highest level, but to some particular level, because there was somebody who was always mentoring at the back. That is how it happened. Is it okay? So we have to avoid people from getting afraid of participation, because lack of participation is nothing but a big failure. That is what this particular thing. So here we say goodbye to our 4 friends of everybody somebody, anybody, and nobody, and we go forward. The only failure is the failure to participate. If we are not participating, then we will never understand where to go, how to go, when to go. Whenever we are participating into the entire workshop in an organization, where to go, how to go automatically becomes clear. So the only failure is the failure to participate. Give 100% and obviously you will get 100%. This message should be loud and clear within the organization. So while going forward, to get the right people, everybody has got a vision, a big vision. I want to pull this company out somewhere. I have to really pull this company up to a certain level. Suppose you are climbing a mountain. You're climbing a mountain in a bus where there are few people apart from you. And all the people are sitting at the back seat of the bus. And the bus has to go round and round the hill to go to the top. That is normally what happens. So what will happen to the bus? The bus will take much more time to reach to the top. Yes, it will reach, but it will take more time to reach to the top because the entire load was on the baggage side. So you have to actually push the people to the front to get the people on the right seat there. So the sales team is nothing but the right people in the right seat of the right bus, which is going to take the business and you as an owner of the business to that vision of yours. So creating that sales team, the right people, and to put them in the right seat of the right bus is basically the mission. And with that mission, you actually achieve your vision. That is the process. So in Action Coach, we learned that teaching a person to fish, we are actually helping him to feed for a lifetime. But if we hand over the fish to him every time, then he doesn't learn to fish. So it is always better to teach a person to fish, and so that they are fed for lifetime. Now, whom do you want in your journey is basically your call. So that is how the things are done. Now, to reach this particular place, to reach this particular vision of getting the right people in the right seat of the right bus, so easy to say, so easy to understand, but actually does not happen without this training. Continuous training in the organization of self-development, selling skills, human development, everything together brings up, develops the good characteristics within a character of your own team. So they understand the real reason of being in that team. So that is how you build up a team. We will come to the different people, the different sales team people, like everybody, somebody, anybody, and nobody, and how to find out them, how to understand them. We'll come to this in the future slides, which we call them as the 4 avatars of sales team. The 4 avatars of sales team. Let's go into a little bit of discussions. Please, anybody, can anybody contributor who can be the 4 avatars of the sales team? What are the different type of sales people we have got in our? How many type of sales people you have actually come across? Can anybody unmute and tell how many type of sales person we have got?
Yeah, can I say?
Yeah, sure. Please, anybody.
Say sales. I mean, one could be those who are in consultative selling, and others who are in क्या बोलते हैं, push selling.
Push selling. Okay, so I take the word push selling. Okay. Consultative selling is basically, how will I say, he explains something before selling, right? This is what you want to say.
Yeah.
Helping
Where
how to sell.
yeah, actually something like the person buys because of your efforts to sell. While in push selling, it is like very much the salesperson oriented actions.
The murga mila mal dacho.
Ah,
Correct?
and often when the customer doesn't feel like he's a buyer, but just to get rid of the salesperson, he buys sometimes. If the small item I'm talking.
Yeah. So we got two types. One is who are a consultant as a seller, and one is who is a seller.
Yeah.
Predominantly a seller.
Push selling.
Anybody else want to contribute something? Come on, we are all salesperson. Can we find out ourselves what we are actually, what we do?
I will say something here. Am I audible?
Yeah, sure. But your voice is low, but you're still audible.
Yeah. See, when looking at salesperson, I have seen a lot of salespeople are very passive. I find that is one set of people. Other set of people is extremely good in relationship building up. And the third set that I have seen is that goes hand in hand to a certain extent. They're extremely good in networking.
Yeah.
All three can be very effectively utilized in building a proper team.
Correct. So basically, you're talking about the passive means who is waiting in his chair with the customers to come.
Correct.
So a good example is there for a passive salesperson. We'll come to that later. And I would ask Suresh.
One example I can cite, those who are used to B2B business.
Yeah.
Guy waiting for the tender to be floated and then act on it.
That's a real example. Not a proactive way. He's basically acting on after the tender is out.
And 8 out of 10 times, those are the guys who lose that tender.
Absolutely. Sureshji, are you there?
Hello.
Sureshji is dealing with a lot of salespeople because he's into distribution business as well as in the enterprise business. So he is handling so many salespeople with him, and he can also give us a good sight. Sureshji, are you there? I don't think. Hello.
He may be muted. Just unmute him and then check.
Yeah, he's muted. Suresh is there. Probably he's muted. Sebastian, can you help us finding out what are the 4 avatars of salespeople as per you? How many type of salespeople you think are there?
Say, when some would be more goal driven.
I heard the word bold, right? Bold. Can you speak a bit louder? Not able to hear you.
Hello, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I was sharing that some would be like, goal achievers, some would be early starters, some would be more, mid-term starters, and some would be like, last finishers. So that is how.
Closing the deal. You mean to say that the deal closer, the final.
Yeah. So more I feel, like everyone are into a different avatar. So if we say we have KPIs for the year, some will go and give a early start to it. Some will start after first quarter has closed. Some will wake up by the mid of the year, and some will be like, now crisis, we need to finish it off and just finish it. So, this is what happens.
So, while Sebastian is here, I will like to,
sorry to interrupt you. There was some technical problem. I could not unmute.
You are driving at the same time, right?
So I just wanted to meet one customer urgently. Wanted to.
Okay.
So anyway, So I'm on the call, no problem.
Okay. So
I will mute my video.
yeah, fine, no problem. You are there. Please consider it on your driving, because that is very important, and
Yes.
you can keep your video off at the same time. No worries.
Yes.
No worries.
Yes. Yes.
So Apnil ji, can you share some idea? Apnil ji, can you share some idea? Is it there? Okay, we will come back to him. So let me find out the 4 avatars. The 4 avatars is the one, the order taker. Okay. The passive one, sitting in his place, waits for someone to ask if they can buy something. Go back to the chroma. Person are standing on each and every stall. When you go to the stall, and then he will ask you, what do you want, sir? You ask him, what is this price is? He will tell you the price. You will ask him, what is this price? He will tell you that price. He will show a lot of confidence that he is a part of the group, but he will not proactively come out to say, sir, this is this price and this is this price, but this is somehow better than this. These are the areas where this particular product ages more than this. That is an order taker who sits at his own place and only accepts whatever comes to his place. Now here, I want to define what a sales is. What is selling actually? What I have understood in my career, what is selling? Selling is nothing but a professional way of helping people to buy. That is what selling is. This is what my thought process is. But this is nothing. There is actually it's a way which I adhere to help people to buy my product by talking about the USPs of the product, rather than talking about what others are not good at. Sometimes relating the nearest product to it, finding out what is the requirement of the person, and evolving out with a solution to his requirement. So it is nothing but I feel it's a professional way of helping people to buy. So if you get that right team in place who are actually helping people, actually helping professionally to those people wanting to buy, it makes a better team. The second one is the product pusher. He is not bothered what he wants. He is only bothered about what he is supposed to sell, because he has got that product, he has to sell that product, he has to come out of that. That is a product pusher. He does not evolve out anything out of him. He only goes by the boxes which are before him and he tries to push that. That is what the product pusher is. So he only talks about the product, he doesn't talk about anything else. There are somebody who are the overseller. And I think every salesperson at one point of time goes through this particular phase. To sell something, he will sell anything. That is more important. He comes only after the product pusher. His category always pops out after the product pusher, because when the person is trying to push a product, he is not actually trying to find out what the buyer wants to buy. He's pushing his product. Now to push that particular product, he slowly becomes an overseller, an over-commitment given seller, which sometimes boomerang back to the company. They are sometimes very essential for the organization, but I would say 90% they are not very essential for the organization. They will somehow sell anything to sell what his product is. They will sell any words, any type of commitment to get his product sold out, which sometimes can become boomerang if the customer, winds back to the system. I remember one salesperson was there in an ABN AMRO bank that time. I'm talking about in the early days when I was with a financial company. He sold a Hyundai that time instead of selling a Maruti 800. Because Hyundai had lot of sales incentive rather than what Maruti was giving, because that time Maruti 800 was the hot selling cake. So the incentive component of selling Maruti 800 was much less. So somehow he managed to get his papers signed by the customer by not writing the name of Maruti 800 on top, keeping it blank, and got the customer signature on the right. And when he submitted those papers to the bank for the loan was sanctioned on Hyundai i10. So the entire thing cropped out when the customer came down for delivery of the car, and he got to understand that it was not a Maruti 800 but it was a Hyundai i10. So now what has happened? What has happened is the most interesting. He took all the pains to make his wife and children to make them understand that Hyundai i10 is much more flashy car than Maruti 800, and he succeeded. But ultimately he was expelled out of the system in the organization. He succeeded, he got managed. The customer took some damages from the financial organization, either because if the loan has got sanctioned, so any financial company, if the loan gets sanctioned, it cannot be closed down. So there were a lot of trouble, lot of system breaking in organizations, and to save that customer, otherwise it would have been a big affair. But he managed it. He promises the world to get the sale. He has done something. He then spoke to his wife. He went or his children and take them through the Hyundai i10. Somehow managed. He was a good salesperson, but he was not actually the required salesperson for the organization. That is what it is, the overseller is. The fourth one is the problem solver, which we are all looking at it, which helps the customers find what they need and helps them to get certainty out of anxiety. What I should buy, not able to understand whether I want to buy an OLED or a simple LED. How much effective is an OLED over an LED? How much time am I going to view an OLED and an LED? What is the cost difference between the OLED and the LED? Whether it is really cost effective or not. These are the things where a customer keeps on thinking about it. Now, if you've got a salesperson who is a problem solver by nature, he will try to transfer that anxiety into certainty for that customer. But it happens that in certain cases, the value of the sale comes down. It's true, the value of the sale comes down. What you see at that particular moment, that the value of the OLED was much higher than the LED. But what we fail to understand that becomes your secured customer for the future. And that salesperson will be able to bring in more revenue from the customer rather than bringing it once. This is what a problem solver actually is. And if you typically find out a problem solver, what are the 4 characteristics of a problem solver? How does a person becomes a problem solver? How can you actually upgrade your product pusher, your order taker, because everybody, all the 4 categories are actually required in your sales team. The proportion has to be decided by you. But what makes a problem solver? You will find a person in your organization, a salesperson, who is very much on a training part. They love training. They want to upgrade themselves with not only with his own company products, but also with his competition company products. They keep on training themselves on and on, so that they are at par with the current situation. They think about money. They have got a very different definition of money. You know what they think? Money is exactly nothing but an idea. Money is nothing but an idea backed up by confidence. So confidence helps to ideate the process to bring that product in front of that particular buyer and helps him to buy. So that is how this particular problem solver who is in a training thinks about money, gets into the system and tries to develop more relation with the customer and make him a regular buyer, a consistent buyer, one and after. First sell, second sell, third sell, that is what it is. The third most important characteristics of a problem solver is basically is clear and candid communication. Every professional salesperson obviously will have a good communication. You can easily find out the difference between the 4 avatars. A very correct, to the point communications. And the fourth and most important part is the delivery. The last and the final lap of your race, delivering the right product and in the right time. Delivering the right product, and not only the right product, but at the right time, that brings the wow factor from the customer. A perfect and consistent delivery brings the wow factor. That's what it is. And on top of that, what happens? There are always failures. There are always failures in deliveries, but he becomes proactive to call the customer to tell him, okay, sir, we have been unable to deliver this right now because of such and such, the true problems. Because a fight before is always better than a fight after. When you tell the truth, however hard it is to accept, but people do accept, and that makes your mind clear and brings the customer more nearer to you. So these are the 4 avatars of a sales team. Now, how to choose the right team, that is very important. How do you understand, how your HR will understand to do this? Just by taking an interview, going for the CV, what he has done before, because what he has done before is only an indication that what he has done that time. It does not give any indication that how will he perform here. We all carry, a very informative, a very decorated, a very curated CV for our interviews. But the point is, all these curated, decorated CVs only talks about what you have done. Your performances, your past performances. It does not actually give any guarantee about your future performances. Because there are so many factors which has enabled him to perform at that particular pace. So how that person will survive, will perform the same way or even better than that depends upon the team together where he is getting inside. So the main question lies here, how to choose the right team. Here, when we choose a right team, apart from the CV, we can go back to a process called DISC profile. How to divide the 4 avatars into DISC and how to make them understand what you are good at and what you are not good at, what can be improved, where it requires improved, because it teaches you how and others behave and react in his normal mode and in his adapted mode. Now, the adapted mode and the normal mode are the 2 modes where a human being passes through. One is at home and one is at working place. So this DISC profile actually helps you to understand whether the guy is a dominance characters guy, he's an influencer guy, whether he's a stabilizing or he's a cautious, that is the DISC, D-I-S-C. I'll give you a small example. A person who is dominative in nature becomes a person in your accounts department. And a person who is more of a overcautious guy, more analytical guy, goes down into a sales team. So what happens? The 2 characteristics doesn't match with the required characteristics of that particular job profile. When we do a networking job, we require somebody called influencing, who keep on inspiring people, being optimistic with the people, networking, and growing together. The stabilized people, the stabilized person is a democratic. He will understand what is the process. He will go by the details and then think about it. He will never talk to anybody unless and until he is completely engaged with that particular product, because he is meant for that. So all these 4 areas are the 4 different type of characteristics within a character of individual, and this is done in a mass way in an organization. So what happens? It actually helps the organization, the HR, to find out what is actually good at this particular person and what is not good at. Okay, so there are different organizations who has gone through this, and they are also going through this. One of them is Eduvara. Eduvara has appointed us to do this DISC profile for all their sales people inside their organization. So this is what it is. And then what is exactly this report is called about? This report, the DISC report, doesn't say anything good and bad. All these 4 components are present in everybody, in all of us. It only the proportion, the percentage of the D and the I and the S and the C keeps on varying. And it helps you to dominate on each other. And how to understand the D guy, how to understand an S guy, there is a full length of training on that, to study people and then to find out how they are actually working on this. So in this report of 50 pages, it is approximately 50 pages report. It's like a Kundli which come up after this test, a test which is an online, and it consists of around 30-31 questions. It is submitted online. It goes to our USA platform. From there it comes back to us, and then it undergoes through an 1.5 hour, 2 hour debriefing of the system to make him understand where are the areas they are very good at and where are the areas they are not good at. It is nothing called bad, they are not good at. So the intensity of the characteristics using scales of directness and openness is basically the main idea of these 4 styles: the dominance, influence, steadiness, and consciousness. So dominance, how people address problems and challenges, how they take challenges. I is basically how people handle situations involving people and contracts, does not keep everything to one own self. They try to influence people to get things done. Steadiness. A particular department of an organization needs consistency, pace, slow, steadiness, and then to work upon. Conscientiousness. How people react to procedure. They are completely procedure-driven people. Like the people in accounts has to do this. You cannot just cancel the bill. Like when we go back, when the sales people go back to the accounts, what they say, Mr. So and so, we have to cancel this invoice. The accounts will say, no, we cannot cancel this invoice because the GST has been paid. So what is the process? We have to ask the customer to sell it back to us, and all these processes, the mandates, and all these things are basically the nature of a consciousness. So that is how this DISC profile actually helps people that to understand what is the type of character which we are looking into, what is the type of qualities which we are looking into a person as under sales or in the accounts. So this is a study by the Assessment 247 from Las Vegas also. I was talking about the sales for so long, and I would love to talk about this team, the marketing team, and because we need to know them actually. So in 2012, if you remember, we only saw billboards and media prints everywhere, here and there. In 2020, suddenly everything went digital, and we cannot deny it is there. Everything is in digital. The Facebook got live, the Instagram got live, the YouTube got live, everybody, the Facebook turned all the tables across the domains. The physical meetings are over. People are more concentrating on Zoom meetings or on webinars. See, today we are speaking to Suresh ji from Hubli, we are talking to Swapnil ji from Pune, we are talking to Manoj ji from Ahmedabad, we are talking to Jagtap ji is sitting in Ghatkopar right now, Mr. Arun Bhattacharya, we are talking to him from Kolkata. So we have been all together thanks to this pandemic. Everything went digital. The problem what happened is that life has all become a matter of likes and dislikes. Whatever you do has to be judged by the likes you get and by the dislikes you get. You have to be liked. You have to do something so that people like you. That is the main constraint of this digital life. If you want to express yourself, you can't express yourself because you can't talk to anybody, because people can't see you, you can't meet them today. So you do whatever you want to express, whatever gyan you want to give to the society, whatever you want to talk, put it on the YouTube. That is how it is. To help this, there's only one way. The social media has become bigger than your personal presence in the market. The online marketing, the website marketing has become so big, but unfortunately, the SMEs of this country don't believe in this. They are mainly have been adopted by the MNCs, the online marketing, using their website, making it more interactive, asking people, flowing traffic towards the website so that, people come, they ask questions, there is a care, somebody is there in the website who will try to keep on answering your questions, and you become more attracted towards that particular system, and then slowly you start buying it from it. So this process of interacting and engaging people through your website and helping them to solve their problem is basically the fourth avatar which you're utilizing. So this is a study, and this has to be a part of your team today. The point is, this sales team and the marketing team, they should not compete in an organization, but they should be actually complementing each other. The marketing team is an essential add-on to your existing sales team. Create a space for them, which will help you to grow more, which will help you to expose more, which will help you to make you understand better than before. I was going through a journal 2 days before where I got to understand that companies need to change the reward strategy also to develop a good sales team. There was a study which was done in the Rice University. It was a combination of studies in the Rice University, in the Tulane University, University of North Ireland, Carolina, and all these people came together and worked on 12 organizations in Taiwan. The experiment is known as a quasi experiment, QUASI. You can find it on the Google. It's a quasi experiment which says that today the time has come to change the reward strategy. So what was the previous reward strategy? The incentives were talk about: you sell, you get money. You sell from 100%, you get this. You sell 120%, you get this. You sell 130%, you get this. So it is all about sales and money. Now they are telling to change this incentive strategy. You have to change this thing. Entire subject was actually studied for nearly 8 months of study with approximately 3 million people by Jing Zhou, J-I-N-G, if I'm spelling it wrong, J-I-N-G-Z-H-O-U. He's a researcher and he has done this. And I thought it is very relevant. What he told is basically change the reward strategy. Redefine it. It is not only sales. There are so many activities in the organization who are also working. So bring them together. You allow the sales team to choose their incentive, which type of incentive they should have. Isn't it so that when we go to the departmental store, we have got the choice of buying something? So Mr. Jing Zhou is telling that why not in the organization also? Suppose you sell component A with component B with component C, you get this incentive. Suppose you sell the component D with the component A and with the component F, you'll get this incentive. Choice of incentive. What it happens, it helps the team to identify more avenues to get more revenues. When they try to find out more avenues to earn more, they will also make you make more revenue. That is how today the networking marketing companies, the MLM marketing companies are also working. They are combining with product A with product B with product C, you get this free. Then product A with product D with product E, you get this free. If you get everything together, you get this free. So they give a chance to their consultants, so-called the salespeople, so-called the ambassadors of this company, to choose their own incentive, to discover the new ways of incentivizing. Embed this thing into the KPI system from the day one. Don't change it every month. There are some business people in this country where we see they keep on changing their incentive schemes every 1 month or every 2 months. Suddenly they wake up with a new idea of having a new incentive scheme. They don't understand that the people are working on based on some ideas, and that some ideas will only get matured into a reality within a certain span of time. And you as an owner cannot just step inside in mid of the process and then mix it up, tweak it up to create another thing. It is not creativity. It is a complete process of damaging the system. So create that with the KPI along when you are submitting, when you are actually asking somebody to join you. to test and measure on regular intervals, as what I said earlier. Now, this helps to create effective ways to provide the employee the opportunity to choose from multiple reward system. Because to blow the fire in the organization, you also need to reward all members of your organizations. I have been lucky enough, privileged enough to working in an organization where everybody used to get incentives. Right down right down to the office boy also get an incentive. So it was a complete teamwork. The sales manager will get, the sales engineer will get, because the vice president will get, the president will get, they always get. But hardly in any companies I have seen the back office also gets. But I had a privilege of working in such organizations where even the office boy also got a foreign trip from the organizations because the entire team worked together in a branch. That is the change of rewarding strategy. And I really liked it, so I just wanted to put this point. And suddenly I have included this point last night because this actually boosts the creativity of the people working in organizations, which finally takes your organizations to a different level. So that was the end of the sales team. And at Connect, we have conceived this with a noble vision to create world abundance through business re-education. We work with business people. So if you have got your friends or somebody who really wants to understand how to grow their business, what are the other ways of thinking about their business to the next level, and if they're actually looking for somebody who can help them, we are a team, we will definitely help them to do so. Our key focus is strategic planning, sales team mentoring, building them, sales and marketing, creating incentives, finding out what is the gap in between the owner and the team, whether there is a sync between the two thoughts or not, and actually drive them towards a single line of growth which will lead to the profitability. Our journey is a commitment of conviction, growth, delivery to transform your business into a commercially profitable enterprises. Again, I'm talking about the same thing which will work without you. We are not saying that you have to remove yourself from the organizations. No, you are there. But your organizations will work for you and you are not going to work for the organizations. So now you are free. In that way, you are free to do more, to think more, and to find out more from your business or from new businesses. If any of your friends or any of you want to discuss more and implement such things, please associate yourself with us. We will be happy to do so. Our next engagement is synergy. With all these things what we have done for the last 4 weeks, how to bring them together to have that synergy so that the business works like a well-oiled machine. Then only you will become free, otherwise you can't become free. So we will come back to you on 18th July, that will be a Sunday at 11 a.m. Just for a change, 18th July 2021 at 11 a.m. Thank you so much. We are all connected to each other, but still it's in the mandate that we say, these are my email IDs, the websites. You can always go to the website, push in your ideas. You can ask your friend circles, entrepreneur circle to visit the website, like it, or if you dislike it, please openly do it and tell us what are the changes needs to be done so that we emerge out to be a good professional organizations with your help. Thank you so much. Anybody was saying something? Yeah, fine. Thank you so much.